It's been a crazy week culturally, I think, because you've got the attacks on the president for serving cheeseburgers, which, by the way, I was pretty agnostic on the choice to serve cheeseburgers and not something, more aspirational. But the troll worked like a charm. I mean, I'm still seeing freakouts and deep dives by the Washington Post on the calorie count. These guys just won the national championship in football. I mean, I think these guys can burn off a few cheeseburgers. I don't know if that.
My children are both college athletes.
Yeah.
6,000 calories a day is pretty standard when you're in the gym for 5 hours. So cheeseburgers, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where I have a friend who was a top executive at a fast food company, and the whole model is basically people under 25 can burn the stuff off. I mean, that's their business. Yeah. They're their bread and butter. It's the guys who are on the Clemson football team. So it's I have to watch my calories because I'm getting over the hill here, Dr. G. But it's such a weak attack on Trump, and it just reminds you that everything the guy does is bad according to the left.
But the beauty of it is, I think it always triggers them in such a way that it actually strengthens the president. How many Americans who, are apolitical, don't really follow politics, looked at that story and said, yeah, cheeseburgers, and support the president afterwards. Yeah. It's the same with Nancy Pelosi and this utterly transparent ploy of hers with the State of the Union. She's trying to leverage through some kind of moral argument with regards to security that he shouldn't give the speech because she knows giving him that platform right now in the middle of a government shutdown would crush the left-wing narrative. And what does she end up actually proving? On my show yesterday, I asked a very simple question to the callers. Nancy Pelosi has attempted to cancel the State of the Union for security reasons. The question is the safety of Nancy Pelosi and the members of Congress more important than the safety of people like Corporal Ronil Singh? She sent the very simple message, we need to be safe, but Americans don't, so we're not going to let the president build the wall. It was a beautiful own goal.
Yeah, I think so. So let's see if I can deftly segue around the various news items of the day, because we have some serious stuff to talk about here. But let's start with the Women's March, which is coming up. Yeah. I think it's on Saturday. And there's a lot of Democrats who are avoiding it because the latent anti-Semitism of many of the organizers has come to the fore. It's come to light. People have wisened up to who Linda Sarsour is and others. And this is one of these things. This is one of the things that people who actually pay attention and don't just get the CNN chyrons to the news, they understand the left actually has a growing anti-Semitic streak to them. The increase in folks like in America, folks like Mark Lamont Hill comes to mind, talking about abolishing Israel, which is in itself anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic comments from Rashida Tlaib in the past. And then, of course, you're looking at Europe, where there's a huge rash of anti-Semitism. It's not coming from the far right as much as it's coming from the globalist left. And yet there are folks like me at Breitbart, who is half Jewish and works at a company that's overwhelmingly pro-Israel and is owned and run by Jews and edited by Jews. They try to call us anti-Semitic. It's so laughable. Now people have to avoid this Women's March here, Dr. G. And this is fascinating to see how this is going to go down.
Look, on my show, America First, I think we're going to actually dedicate on my website, sebgorka.com, I think we're going to have a tab which is solely about the rise of anti-Semitism in the institutional left. Because the problem here, Alex, isn't one-offs. It isn't the fringe. It is the institutionalization of anti-Semitism within the Democrat Party. As I was waiting to come on the show, I saw Ryan Saavedra. I think... is he with Daily Caller? And anyway, if you go to my Twitter feed, he's posted this incredible video of Maxine Waters embracing, celebrating Louis Farrakhan.
Sure.
Who not long ago said, what about the Jewish people? He likened them to termites. Is there any move from Maxine Waters to distance herself from Farrakhan? Is there any move by Nancy Pelosi to punish her the way Steve King has been punished by the GOP for his comments? Of course there isn't. When you see the first act of Rashid Tlaib when she comes into the Congress to put a giant Post-it note over a map of the Middle East, obscuring Israel and writing on the top of it the word Palestine, this isn't some blogger in the middle of nowhere.
No, this is a congresswoman. And she's not the only one, Dr. G. Ilhan Omar, the other Muslim congresswoman who was just sworn in, has anti-Semitic tweets, and she's defended them. She's defended the anti-Semitic tweets.
Tweeting about the evil of Israel. This is a congresswoman.
Yes.
Stunning. And do the Democrats care? No. Will any of these people suffer even a fraction of the fate of Steve King? Right now, it doesn't look like it. And as such, we have to be not just concerned with rising anti-Semitism on the street. If you listen to the recent reports of the FBI in New York, for example, there's a spike in anti-Semitic acts. But this is on Capitol Hill. We need to put pressure on these people because the problem isn't, as Don Lemon said on his TV show. He said, the problem in America is white men. The problem is a Democrat Party which has embraced rabid anti-Semitism.
All right. So, Dr. G, two quick ones, and then we'll open it up to some callers. The Brexit is stalling out. I think this doesn't surprise anyone. Theresa May barely survived a vote of no confidence, which is what I figured because she is the preeminent zombie politician. She just manages to hang around. I've been loving playing clips of her because she only has one mode. Her energy level is always about like a 6.5 out of 10. If she gets a huge rebuke, she sounds the exact same as if she gets a huge victory. She's literally one note. It's kind of amazing to listen to it. The utter stoicism. What do you make of what's happening with Brexit?
I think Margaret Thatcher is rolling in her grave. Where are the statesmen, the stateswomen of yesteryear? I think the Conservative Party is just a hollowed-out sham of itself. And the sad thing is that people, it's easy from 4,000 miles away to misinterpret what's going on. The vote against the Brexit plan wasn't a victory for the people's choice, the people's mandate, because a lot of the people who voted against the Brexit plan are really Remainers. They were voting for the opposite reason than you would expect because they're a conservative. So, look, at the end of the day, this is the biggest vote in British history. 17 million people voted to reassert their national sovereignty. Brexit will happen, but what you have occurring in front of our eyes is the largest endorsement of the so-called political elite in the UK that we have seen in, I don't know, it may not be decades, it may be centuries, Alex.
Wow, amazing. Dr. G, we've talked about Syria a little bit together 2 or 3 times at this point in the president's plan there. I think we all would like to draw down troops in as many places around the world as we can. The problem is there doesn't seem like a ton of great options in Syria. There's about 2,000 American troops there, and if we pull them all out, it's just going to be without some sort of real ninja diplomacy here. The gap is just, the void is just going to get filled by some combination of Iran, Turkey, Assad, others who are not good actors in the region. And so it's a tough one. And then yesterday there was an attack where 4 Americans were killed. ISIS claimed credit for the attack. Does this change any of your thinking? What does this mean for the grand strategy in Syria?
It only reinforces my support for what the president is doing, because look what happened. You had 2 servicemen and 2 Americans killed in a restaurant in Manbij. We don't want more sitting targets like the 2,000 Marines that are a conventional force that could be targeted in a similar fashion should they stay in Syria. The president has all kinds of options available to him that are not conventional, whether it's special operations, whether it's UAVs, whether it's other Title 50 CIA paramilitary assets. That's more than enough to deal with the high-value targets that are of proximate concern to the United States. But as you said, the larger challenge is the bad actors that wish to exploit the situation in Syria. We can't leave it just up to Turkey. Turkey has gone sour. It is run by a man who's basically created his own version of a Turkish Muslim brotherhood. We can't allow Iran to exploit it. So right now, behind closed doors, John Bolton, Mike Pompeo are working every minute God gives them every day to make sure that there are local power partners that we empower to make sure that the worst of the worst actors do not exploit the situation. It won't be easy, but that situation will not be solved by doubling down on our presence with American troops.
Okay, Dr. Sebastian Gorka is with me. You can check out his radio show, America First, with Dr. Sebastian Gorka on the Salem stations, and he also is author of some books, including Why We Fight. And I enjoyed being on with him this week. Thanks for that, Dr. G. That was enjoyable, and I'm sure we'll do it again. Let's bring in some of you. Yeah, let's bring in some of you throughout the country. Thomas in West Virginia wants to talk about Christina Wong's bombshell story about the Green Berets and lowering of standards, and perhaps even some retaliation from the generals against those who are trying to note that the standards are getting lowered. Thomas, your question or comment?
Yes, sir. Good morning to both of you. Wow, this is like a two-for-one. You know, my most favorite people, Dr. G, I'm a longtime fan, and gosh, I just wish that someday you'll run for president.
Cool, love it.
It has to change the Constitution, I'm afraid, but thank you.
I amend it for Dr. G. Come on, everyone, let's get going. Change.org petition. Do it, Thomas.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yes, my comment was in reference to the military standards for the physical readiness testing. It's kind of ironic. It's like now, it's starting in 2020, we're supposed to be having, instead of a 3-event physical readiness test, which is sit-up, push-up, 2-mile run, now they're going to have 5 different types of events. And one of the generals that was actually authored this new change said, well, if people that can't meet the physical standards, say like if they have something medically wrong with them, they put them on what they call a medical profile, and they have limited exercises they can do. They're saying with that, they don't know what they're going to do with these two folks. But when that initially came out, they said that they were just going to get rid of them. And here I am. I'm a 34-year plus military member, and I'm old. I'm 54 years old, but still serving, and just for my body being banged up, I'm put on a restricted profile where I can only do 2 events. So what am I, with my brothers and sisters out there, what are we supposed to do? We're still capable of serving, and we can walk and run if needed. I mean, if somebody's shooting at me, you can bet I'm going to be running. I'm not going to say, hold on, I'm on profile, I can't run.
Okay, so let's bring in Dr. G. Dr. G, any reaction to Thomas's comments or anything broader on the reports that the military is lowering standards in certain ways, and whether or not it's inevitable, or any commentary on any of that?
Yeah, look, it's not inevitable, not with Donald Trump in the White House as the commander-in-chief. First things first, thank you for your service, and also congratulations for Christina on her scoop there. This is where political correctness costs lives. If there is one place in the world where you have to have cast iron, carved in stone standards that are non-negotiable, it is for the war fighter. And it's not just about your own health or your own physique. You need to be able to carry your partner out of a foxhole if they're injured.
Wow.
You need to be able to lift 80 pounds of equipment on your back and then pick up the man next to you and carry him to safety if he's injured. If you compromise that, you compromise the whole unit, you compromise the mission's execution. The Marine Corps has done sterling work, the Commandant pushing back in testimony on the Hill with regards to the watering down of standards. I feel for what your caller is saying. I understand what he's saying. but the insanity of political correctness being allowed to dilute our standards is not going to continue under this president.
Yeah. Thomas, any thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, I can assure you that, especially being in my position, I work out every day. And it's like within the confines of my profile, I can assure you I can do the task if I was deployed. So that's my thought on that particular part. And I respect that, the standard should be held to a higher standard, especially for the Green Berets, because I don't know what this political correctness part is going to be doing, because I've served with Green Berets before, and these gentlemen have been a vast array of the greatness of our nation. I mean, I've served with people that have, from Latin descent, African American, Yugoslavian. I mean, these gentlemen come from all over the place, and I serve with them proudly. And I don't see the need for this. I really don't.
Yeah. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of latent racism here, Dr. G, with these callers.
Clearly, it's the masculine, toxic masculinity.
That's right. Yeah, Thomas, they love having listeners like that. Dr. G, I'm told I'm supposed to let you go now, so we'll do some more calls. We got to do a more extended segment where it literally, I don't even say anything.
I'll come in again. We had fun. I'll come in.
Yeah, that was great. That was a blast. So I'm enjoying the new show. What's that time again, Dr. G, that people can hear it? 3
to 6 on the East Coast, but at our website, it's playing 24/7 on the stream. So it's sebgorka.com, SEBGORKA, sebgorka.com.
And do you have the podcast set up yet?
That's the very next thing. Next week.
You got to get that going. That's really good. It's one of these things, guys, where you can fit in so much talk radio these days. I mean, I get some of these podcasts when there's so many commercials and I play them on double speed. You can get through an hour in like 16, 17 minutes. It's amazing. Dr. Gorka, appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Thanks. God bless you on the